Hey guys, thank you for subscribing to my Everyday Life Part 2. I am Nicole. We will be talking about um, what it's like, sorry, to what it's like to have a heart condition, and how it feels and everything. Um, well, to be vague, it's not that fun. As a child, I hated it. I really hated it. I remember one time I got sick and I I couldn't breathe properly, and so I had to have a inhaler, and I hated that inhaler because it was so big and it was scary. It reminded me of the mask they use for the oxygen before you go to sleep or whatever that crap is. Um, and so I just would put up a fight before I would take the inhaler, and I think it was because of my lungs. I got it because I had trouble with my lungs at the time. Now that I think of it, and it was not fun. I remember that it was blue and yellow, and it was about like this, with a thing like this, and a flat circle on top, and oh my gosh, it was horrible. Oh man. And every time I used it, I cried because I was just so afraid of using it. And the smell would be like so scary. Oh man, it was just so uncomfortable. Some things you remember as a child, it's just so like, yeah, no, no, don't come near me. um, I was told growing up not to overdo things, not to lift heavy things, not to um, overdo it, otherwise my oxygen would drop. Not to run too fast because my oxygen would drop. Um, don't talk too much because my oxygen would drop, because that is very true. We've noticed that a lot as I got older. And I can feel it because I keep wanting to yawn on camera. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. If I go to houses, when I was little, I would get pale. I am already pale right now. You just can't see it because the light's right there. But I'd become paler and have blue lips, blue fingernails. Uh, my speech would be like mumbly. Um, so it would be hard to speak and understand me. Um, let's see. Let's see. And also from my house to 2 houses down, when I was younger, I would want to feel the need to throw up because I'd feel dizzy, lightheaded, fatigued. um, uncomfortable in my own skin. Like I want to take off like every single layer of clothing because it's so like uncomfortable on me. Um, and then lastly, I would feel like I would want to pass out because of how I felt. Um, my oxygen at the time was 60 or high 60s and mid 70s. Um, uh, I then ran out of breath. I don't know if I said that or not. My apologies. Uh, um, I had close to a to of a had close to of a normal life as possible, but I had to skip out on most things, much which now looking back was probably a better decision because I put up a really big fight about that. Uh, I will talk to you about that probably in the next video. Right now, um, I'll just talk to you about um, how to speech therapy, which was just at the school down the way from where I live. Um, I went there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my friend, he was there too. He was the like jokester slash troublemaker. Um, he was the only thing that made me look forward to going there, besides the cookies they handed out for good achievement, um, and the games. The games were cool. But sometimes we would walk down there, my mom and I, and she could hear that I was out of breath. So we would stop at certain spots and I would take a breath and then we would go again. And then we would stop and then head there again until we reached the um, until we reached the teacher's classroom. At, and when we did, um, I finally got to be able to catch all of my breath, and it was miserable because my stomach would feel like it was in knots, and I'd always be looking at my nails like this while listening to the teacher. Um, other times, my dad would take me, but he would drive the car instead of walking, and he would walk slow walk slowly with me so I wouldn't be out of breath or turn blue or anything. Um, that's not what my parents wanted. Um, my teachers, all of them, from pre-K to uh, even younger than that, uh, in therapy when I was a baby, all the way through um, high school. They all knew. They all knew that I had to pace myself and take my time, and that I had a hard time learning, and I had to um, go my own pace, otherwise I'd be fatigued and get frustrated. And And they understood. They tried. It frustrated them, but they tried. Um, my immune system wasn't really that great, so that's why I went to speech therapy Tuesdays and Thursdays um, because of my spleen. I wasn't able to go full time. So some days she came to my house, some days I went there. It was only for an hour and a half, and then I would go home. It was nice knowing that I had teachers who understood my predicament and didn't really get mad at me that much. Um, I had this one teacher. She was pretty cool. Her name was Miss Michaelides. I think it was in like kindergarten or first grade or something. She was really nice. I feel bad for her because I kept getting tired and I didn't want to read. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to study. It was hard. It was so hard for me. School was so hard. I knew I was behind. Felt like I was behind. Hated it so much. The reason why I hated it was because probably the lack of, I don't know, probably the lack of teaching that I got because once the teacher left, it took forever for a new one to come in, almost a year. So that's how you get behind. So my parents tried teaching me